el show para todos, para la comunidad, con la comunidad, de la comunidad. Muy bienvenidos. Bueno, pues bienvenidos al día de hoy. Aquí.
¿Ustedes están listos?
Se escucha un eco, ¿no? Ok, muy bien. Pues ya estamos listos entonces aquí en el show de Ni de Aquí ni de Allá. ¿Cómo están todos?
Busy.
Busy. Let's take a moment to breathe.
So busy.
Reset.
But good.
Let's push that big reset button. Push.
I honestly want to thank Latinx Twitter because I looked up the palabra correcto para game tester.
Okay.
Or quality assurance. So quality assurance is control de calidad. Game tester is probadora de videojuegos.
Probadora de videojuegos.
So la palabra técnicos es muy difícil.
Oh, yeah. Eso me recuerda. Aquí tenía mis notas. Gracias por acordarme.
No, está bien.
Aquí las tengo en el USB.
Me puse un screenshot because no me recuerdo esta palabra.
Ay. Pues aquí con todas nuestras aventuras, ¿no? De la tecnología. Pero bueno, bienvenida Rabecca, perdón. Siempre me confundo con eso, Rabecca. Como conozco a muchas Rebecas y tú eres Rabecca, ¿verdad?
Es verdad. Solamente la letter A.
No, pero tu nombre
Rabecca es correcto.
Rabecca Rocha. Bienvenida aquí el día de hoy. Una introducción muy breve aquí. Rabecca es una... lo voy a hacer en inglés.
Yeah,
¿Suena bien?
yeah.
If everybody's okay, we'll do it in English. I have my notes written in English. Y a veces se me hace difícil de interpretar en vivo. Pero aquí Rabecca is a freelancer 3D artist and QA game tester at Hairbrain Schemes. That's the name of the company?
Yep.
Nice. You're an admin for Diversity Collective and the Seattle Indies board member. Wow. So cool. So good to have you on the show today. She has also contributed to and mentored game jams such as IGDA Global Game Jam and the NASA Space Apps Challenge, right? Mm-hmm. Wow, so cool. Can't wait to hear more about that. She's spoken on numerous panels regarding Latinx representation, mental health, and nerddom.
Yep.
Nerddom. Yeah, I'm a nerd, so yes, I'm definitely interested in this. At PAX West.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I remember I ran into you at PAX a few years ago.
It was one of the first years I was on a panel.
So cool. And at Geek Girl Con. Mm-hmm. Nice. Can't wait to hear more about that. And you created the first Latinos in Tech Hackathon here in Seattle, right?
Yep.
And I know you have an important announcement for us
do.
today. Nice. Can't wait to hear about that. But outside of your role in tech, you're also a painter and run an Instagram page, Mouse Cat Studios. So follow her on Instagram at Mouse Cat Studios. We'll share that on the live feed in a minute. But you can also find her as part of the show Venture Maidens on Twitch next Wednesday at 6 p.m., right?
So actually, it's this Wednesday.
Oh, it's this Wednesday.
It's tonight.
Tonight,
in
6
addition
p.m.
to this.
So look her up, Venture Maidens, on Twitch tonight at 6 p.m. And we'll put your Twitter and Instagram handles here on the live feed so everybody can follow along and can follow you en el Facebook. En el Facebook. A ver si me acuerdo cómo hacerle aquí el banners. I swear, I'm learning as I'm going here.
That's how you do it, though.
Yeah.
It's not a stream without technical problems.
Did it work? No, not yet. There we go. Follow.
I'm seeing some likes and some
Latina scribbles.
views.
Yeah.
Hola a todos. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, everybody. Love the support we're seeing on Facebook and el YouTube y en el Twitter y en el Insta.
Yeah. It really matters.
Yeah, for sure. Well, welcome, Rabecca. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. It was an honor to be asked, and I'm like, the timing is perfect.
It is, right?
Yeah.
But first, before we get to your muy importante announcement, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Rabecca? Welcome to the show.
Sure. I actually met you through Latinos in Tech for Seattle under the umbrella of Latino Community Fund. And back then, I was just a contractor. I've held many jobs here in Seattle, like being a security guard at Amazon or being a barista at Starbucks at the headquarters. And now I am a Latina in Tech.
Nice.
And outside of my own role, like many other / generations, I'm an artist as well. And I've been on panels talking about, because I don't see people that look like me on those panels, talking about Latinx representation and also where we fit in the gaming and tech space.
Yeah, no, that's so important. Well, we're so glad to have you both in those spaces, but also here telling us about those spaces because you mentioned Latinos in tech. And I think one of the reasons we started that group back in the day was because you're right. There's so few of us that look like us, that identify like us, that talk like us sometimes, right?
Exactly.
In those spaces. So I'm glad I got a chance to meet you there. Now I'm glad because of that connection. Now you're here in this new adventure.
I know, it's such a cool way to like bring it back, like loop back around to where we are now.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I like to ask this question for all my guests. As you know, the name of the show here is Ni de aquí ni de allá. There's many iterations of that meaning. So I want to ask you, what does that mean to you? What does that feel?
That's such a perfect sentence because like coming from East LA into the Pacific Northwest, there are so many differences between the two cultures. So being like, actually the Great Gatsby has a quote very similar to that, being both outside and within, where you're sort of observing from the outside, but you're also happen to be part of that party. And it feels like you're kind of like Selena's dad said, like you're not Mexican enough for the Mexicans and you're too white for you're not Mexican enough for the Mexicans and you're not American enough for the Americans. So it's trying to fit in both areas, but also feeling like you still have to make your own way and pave your own way.
We have to work twice as hard, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It feels like that.
Oh, yeah. Like even I know conversational Spanish, but explaining technical Spanish is very difficult. And I hope that maybe there is somebody out there who's in that same area can relate in some way.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of our followers here definitely can relate. I know I can relate as somebody that grew up here in the U.S., went to school here. My Spanish it sounds good sometimes, but sometimes me trabo. Like I totally did Spanglish.
I mean, you got American Spanish, but like your Spanish is far superior to me, where I'm kind of like tripping and stumbling, but like I'm doing my best. And that, at least with our people, they're kind enough to be like, okay, I can kind of get what this weta is saying, but. No,
I think everybody's just appreciative that we try, right?
Exactly.
I think that's what I realized at a young age that if you try, people will accept you because of that. Our community is just so welcoming, so warm, so accepting of these things. And we all know we all have different journeys. We came at different times. We had different experiences. And like there's also some generational trauma that our community is.
Assimilation is real. Like my grandfather was put in the corner with a dunce hat because he would speak Spanish in class. And so that travels down, that trickles down. So I like to still acknowledge that and slip into Spanish when I know what I'm saying, and then, slip out when I clearly don't.
Yeah. No, that's so true. So true. And a lot of us can share stories like that and relate to that. But and tell us more about you. So you're a Latina in tech.
Yeah.
Well, tell us more about what you do right now. What are you working on? What's exciting in your life?
So I live my life under NDA, but what I can say is there is a tactical game that I'm working on currently with Harebrained Schemes. Harebrained Schemes is known for BattleTech and Shadowrun, and they have a major stake in their gamer arena. So that is as much as I can say.
Okay.
But what I have touched or worked on is the Oculus Quest. At Oculus, I've worked at Google and Google Stadia. I've worked at Amazon and Amazon Luna. Like I've been everywhere. If it's tech, I've probably been in it. Those are some of the arenas that I've made sure that I wanted to make sure that I have touched everything within tech. So VR, consoles, PC, everything probably except PlayStation, honestly. Wow. And I think I've had my eyeballs on like Unity as well. It's basically the engine that runs the game.
Okay. So like the system.
Yeah, like Adobe,
right.
like Adobe Photoshop, but for games. So I wanted to just basically almost be irreplaceable in my field. So it was on purpose, and also mobile apps.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I work on the Nicki Minaj game.
Nicki Minaj has a game?
Nicki Minaj has
we got to
a
look
game.
it up. We got to play that Nicki Minaj game. Does she used to go occur or
That's Cardi. But we used to have like a little section where kids could submit their raps. Like they would provide them beats and then they'd be able to rap against the beat. And that was really
wow.
precious to hear all these like little
So you've been in all kinds of aspects of gaming.
purposefully so, yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, I run into when I talk to youth or kids, it's very common. Kids are like, when I ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they're like, I want to make video games. We have somebody here that's literally making video games.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I bet. Tell us about that journey. Like, how did you get started in this, or how did you end up in this position in this realm of creating video games, making video games?
So I graduated during a recession. So a lot of my background comes from 3D arts and animation. And within the city is known more for games than they are for animation and film, for the most part, at least at the time. So I decided to apply for Microsoft for a QA tester position, and I got it. And it was very much like, there's no training in my field. And what I wish a lot of people would know also is at the very beginning of my journey is I also did not need a degree.
Oh, I was going to ask you. So you just went straight
You don't
for
need
it.
a degree to get where I am. I think that's kind of important because that can be a threshold for people now.
Yeah.
So I started at Microsoft game testing. They basically plopped me down in a chair and we had what's called backwards compatible testing. So we were testing older games on a newer system.
Right.
And from there, I just worked my way up. I would put in a year or 6 months at a place and then I'd have to apply for another place. And contracting is really difficult because sometimes you'll choose between higher pay or lower pay with health insurance.
Yeah.
So I don't think enough people talk about that. So from there, I was strategic, man. Like I would go to these network events, even when I was making like $12 an hour at ArenaNet, game testing. And then eventually I networked my way up to like getting to know folks, getting to know who was hiring and updating my resume literally like every year.
Wow.
I did not play. And
You went for it. You hustled.
I did. I had to. I had no choice. Like Rent doesn't care.
Right? Yeah. Red does not care. But yeah, no, I think that's a common theme. We heard that last week also, like find an entry level job.
Yep.
And then from there, work your way up, right? That's
It's-
a great strategy.
It's a great strategy, but you still like have to know somebody. Like we within the tech community within Seattle, it is like the nepotism is wild. Like you know somebody who's just a buddy over at Unity or one of the mid-level games, you're in. So you just have to go out and meet some people. Like
So
that is just how it is.
the saying is true. It's not so much what you know, but it's who you know.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it's absolutely who you know.
Unfortunately, that's across the board. I think any industry you go into, that is very much true. So tell us, like you mentioned networking events. You hit the pavement. You went to these events just to meet people, put yourself out there. What was that like?
I would use, the $20 that I had and order business cards, and I would have my elevator pitch. Hi, my name is Rabecca. I'm working currently here, and I'm looking forward to doing this. Like, I had to be very specific about like where I wanted to go, so that people could envision me in it already. I had to like see it for myself, even if it was like I wasn't there yet.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
It takes a lot of courage sometimes going there. I did that when I started my company this past month.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to print professional business cards. So I just printed them at home in my home printer, like a little basic piece of paper.
Perfect.
It worked.
The strategy now is just have LinkedIn on your phone. So that way what people will do is they'll just boop, like basically zap the ID and be like, oh, okay. Like,
Okay.
I have you on my LinkedIn, and then follow up. The follow up is important. It's not just adding people on your LinkedIn. It's actually like following up.
Yeah.
This unintentionally became career advice, but I'm always happy to like provide that because I want people to know.
You know what? This is career advice for me because, people, this is the second or third time somebody has recommended LinkedIn for me. I'm slacking on my LinkedIn game. So I got to step that up.
One of the things that I hope to do is because like there are some industry professionals who've been in it for 10 years that they don't need it. They don't update it. I want to get to that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you're first starting out and you're starting to grow a business or you're just trying to level up in some way, having that LinkedIn is crucial, at least in my field. I can't speak for other fields.
Yeah,
but
I think in tech, that's very relevant. Like LinkedIn, everybody I've been meeting, they're like, yeah, what's your LinkedIn? What's your LinkedIn? So definitely, if you're interested in getting a career in tech, and if you want to get into networking, make it easy, making your life easier. Get a LinkedIn page, get that updated, and get that set up so that, like you said, you can just scan somebody's phone, right? And automatically connects right there.
Just keep it short. Like having those conversations where you at least have that pitch, because I know small talk does not come naturally to everybody. And I personally, I don't care for it, but who you are, what you do, where you want to go.
Exactly.
And just being intentional about that is pretty important.
Yeah, no, that is definitely so important, and great advice for the people that are listening to us. I know there's people listening to us live, but I know a lot of people listen to this show afterwards, and I get so many comments that are like, Jose, like the people you're inviting, they're so inspirational. They're giving some great advice, because like we were mentioning earlier, right? There's not a lot of people that look like us that identify as Latinx in this industry. So it's so important just to bring these stories forward and share them with our community and talk about. How do you get your foot in the door? But also, what are the challenges? Tell me, Rabecca, what has been your biggest challenge getting into this field and doing the work you do?
Ooh, I'm gonna pull that. Like, not only am I a woman, but I'm a woman of color in this field, and so people taking me serious, like people don't take me seriously from the moment I walk into that interview room, right? This girl doesn't play. She doesn't play video games. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I do. And also here's my resume. And also here is all of my references. So from the moment I have to establish that, like, this is a field that I'm very comfortable in and I know what I'm talking about. And, you know, that is something you have to do with a little bit of grace, right? Because you don't want to like bulldoze your way into it, but also at the same time, like, well, is it nice girls don't get the corner office or something? Like there's a comment like that, but there's room for people. There's room for all of us. I think that is what I'm trying to get across, because I don't see other women as competition in my field. Like, I want them all to come in, but some of the challenges have just been being taken seriously, actually leveling up or growing within my field, and even pivoting to some point, like being able to pivot into another. A title, a career. Like, more often than not, I have to leave the job that I'm at to go get the title and the salary that I deserve, which is tough because you can sometimes work at some places you love those people, but if you're not being paid what you're worth,
right,
you got to dip.
You know what? That's true. That's so true. Sometimes, you know, when I was working in nonprofits, that's literally what the choice I had to make.
Yep.
Do the work that I love doing, but make very little money, barely any benefits, or go into a high paying job. And that's a tough choice to make, you know.
Yep.
But but I think that's important to be able to understand and know how to navigate those systems, right? But then also have a support system behind you. Have a network that can motivate you, can push you, can guide you, you know, as you're navigating that field.
Exactly. Like, every single place that you work, you might take somebody with you, like some good habits, some bad habits, but it's easier to like just take people with you, because you never, our field is so small, you never know who you're going to work with again. So be nice.
So true.
Be nice.
Be nice. Wise words of advice. Be nice. I think that's true for any issue. But yeah, now, you know, thanks for sharing those challenges. Like, I think the ni de aquí ni de allá theme also applies to that a little bit, right?
Exactly.
Where you mentioned, like, being a Latina in that industry, like, you have to work twice as hard, sometimes 3 times as hard,
just to prove you know what you're doing. And sometimes it is weird. Like, there are some weird things that people expect you to do. Like, you're in a meeting just full of people, like men, women, etc., and then they look at you like you're the one who's supposed to take notes. Secretarial work is what it's called. So being mindful of that. And so, you know, we're kind of establishing foundations for that equity. Like, that's one of your favorite words, is equity. It just not only like saying it, but actually doing it.
You know what? That's so true. I meet a lot of people that work in amazing companies, but that's a very common theme. People like to talk equity, a big game, but actually implementing, actually doing it, that's the hardest sometimes.
Exactly.
Especially when their culture is just so used to the status quo, right?
Yep.
So it's so cool just having you in those spaces, breaking down those barriers, telling people like, hey, yo, we can do this differently and we can do it better, right?
One of my mental notes or mantras is just to leave it better than I found it. No matter how that manager might be or how difficult that job might have been, I leave it better than I found it. And also applies to like relationships and friendships and stuff.
I think better than you found it. I mean, you're dropping so many words of wisdom here, because that's so true. Like, I hear that about just how we live, right? How we live this planet better than how we found it. I think that's beautiful.
Yep.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So about your successes, tell us more about that. Like, what keeps you going? What motivates you? Like how do you get that? ¿Cómo te dan esas ganas de ser exitosa?
Honest, I actually learned like ponte las pilas like
Las
this
pilas,
year. What keeps me going is like growing up, my grandma, I call her mama. So if you hear me say mama, I'm talking about my grandma, Hilda. Hopefully she's watching.
Abuelita Hilda.
Hola. She calls me necia, like just stubborn. Oh my God. Just I've been necia my whole life. And I'm going to keep going until somebody tells me no. And then I'm going to find somebody else that'll tell me yes. And that's what I think about in terms of like where I want to go within my career. So my successes have come from just like finding that person who is going to not only like allow me to do it, but maybe help me find the resources to make it happen. That's what happened with Latinos in Tech. That's what is happening currently with Diversity Collective. That's what's happening to Seattle Indies. And shout out to Tim Cullings and August Belhammer, who have been like, oh, you want to do that? Okay.
That's what it takes sometimes. Just somebody giving you that nudge, right?
It's that access. It's that access.
So true. But yeah, and I know you came here today to make a very special announcement.
Yeah. So officially, I was reached out to by somebody named Yasmin. She runs Skillspire. She is a CEO of Skillspire. It looks like it's a boot camp for folks to also level up their careers. And said, how can we make this happen? How can we make Latinos in Tech Hackathon 2 happen? And I was like, I need a venue and I need money and a space. And so with that being said, not to bury the lead, but August 20th is when the second Latinos in Tech Hackathon is happening.
You heard it here first, August 20th.
August 20th. I negotiated a second day as well. So we're waiting on that like official approval to have that 2-day hackathon. But I am working on making it so that it is a hybrid so that folks can come in person or submit their apps or websites through a Discord channel. That's pending. So what we did the last time was we brought in Latinx restaurants and businesses and jewelry and todo eso and said, what do you need? What do you need from us? Do you need a website? Do you need social media presence? Do you need something set up so that folks can know where you are?
Okay.
So essentially, we set them up with 35 game devs to group up and create that for them.
So for a day, you're going to be inviting small business owners, entrepreneurs to come and just tell us, this is what I need help with tech-wise, right?
Yes.
Nice.
We've had this discussion back and forth because I know that for a lot of these businesses, the weekends are a no. So a lot of them sent in representatives. And so to go back to it, it's going to be August 20th, which is I believe a Saturday, to hopefully the 21st, knock on wood. It's going to be in Redmond. I know location is difficult for some folks, but I needed it. It was the one that was available. And like Yasmin said, this doesn't necessarily need to be the only hackathon that happens, right? So yeah, the last time that we did this, we got those Latinx businesses, we paired them up with engineers. We were like, what do you need? So immediately they have a client, right? And then over the weekend, they worked on websites, Etsy's, social media. Some created apps, some created, something as small as like a Google map, like location.
Wow.
And it allowed them to be able to be found, right? Because a lot of the time, generations before us, they have these businesses and sort of rely on word of mouth, but they get left behind as technology advances. So I wanted them to have, okay, here are the Latinx engineers and producers, project managers that exist, and here are the businesses that exist. Let's put them together.
That's so
Let's
cool.
put it back into the community.
That is so cool. No photos. Because I think one thing we noticed, especially coming out of the COVID pandemic, right? When we all went online, everything like accelerated like so quickly. We went online. A lot of our Latinx business owners, right? They started noticing like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And if I don't have an online presence, I'm dying out here. And I heard that so common in our community.
Yeah. One of the Etsy, like there were quite a bit of ladies that made jewelry. she found that her website, the traffic shot up like 10%, which is tremendous for a small Etsy owner, right? And one of the dopest things, and we're bringing this back again, is we brought in meals for folks from those Latinx businesses, right?
That's so cool.
Oh my God, the food was so good.
Oh, I bet.
The food was so bomb. And the second thing of many things, but the second thing was bringing in also a professional photographer to take headshots so that every single person had a professional headshot that they could take away, put on their LinkedIn or submit or...
You know what? I'm gonna have to sign up for this so I can get my
You
headshot.
better. I better see you there.
But tell us, what do you mentioned? It's gonna be August 20th.
August 20th, it's Saturday. It's going to be in Redmond, and I'm going to hold off on putting the address out there until closer to the day of. That way, for security purposes, obviously, but also to make sure that everything's like solidified. But I had the very first Latinos in Tech Hackathon Part 2 meeting earlier this week. It was so like illuminating and exciting, and everybody was on board.
Nice.
I am trying to just put feelers out there, whoever wants to help, and I'll send you the Google sign up sheet too.
Okay.
For any potential people that are interested. Because I've been getting that question like crazy. Like, how do I sign up for this? How do I protect this? How do I promote this? And I have a whole Google sign up sheet that y'all need to sign up.
Great.
But
And
yeah.
we'll happily share here with the viewers. And you're looking for both business owners, Latino, Latinx, Latine business owners, and people that work in tech?
I am looking currently for volunteers, the people that can be there. If you can speak Spanish, English, Portuguese, because there are Latinx brothers and sisters too. And if you happen to be Haitian, one of the biggest feedbacks that we've gotten is just our lack of Afro-Latinx representation at our events. So if you are Afro-Latino, Latina, Latinx, like Latin, please come through. I need to see you. I'm looking for you. But yeah, so Latino Community Fund is handling, because they have a whole like list, right? But they're handling for the most part the Latinx businesses that are coming in.
Okay.
Like I'm going to say no if you apply, right? But yeah, volunteers mostly, and also just participants, the engineers who are trying to get in, the students, the people trying to pivot back into tech.
So this is a great opportunity if you're either looking to pivot, change careers, or enter into the tech field, right? This could be a great experience. Not just you can put it on your resume, you can meet people in the industry,
Yep.
network with folks, learn a new skill maybe.
And even if you're like, oh, I only speak English, but I kind of like to project manage. I mean, that's just as invaluable. Just learning how to do this.
That's so
Creating
cool.
an app, creating a website, creating traffic. A lot of the times I got a little bit of flack the last time because they're like, this is not a hackathon. Yeah, it is. But it is in a way because you have an actual client, right? Typically with hackathons or game jams, you create an app or a game within 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever. This time you have an actual client that you need to meet the needs of.
Yeah.
And I think that is an invaluable lesson in business.
Yeah,
Overall,
yeah.
you have your customer.
No,
right
and
there.
that's like real life, like learning on the job, right? Learning the skills on the job. That's so
Yeah.
cool. And the end product is you're actually helping a small business, either like you said, increase their traffic 10% or increase their sales or just get an online presence. Like that alone is huge for some businesses.
They matter so much to me, and also I don't want language to be a barrier. That is what I want to nail home, is that people who come in who are like my tias and tios from Guatemala or Mexico who don't speak English still have help, which is us. And even if my Spanglish is a little janky, I'm there to help or grab somebody who can help translate so we can get them to where they need to go. The coolest thing was that the last time we were also on Univision.
Oh, no way.
I had to I practiced. Like I practiced so hard, right? But because of Univision, we got people coming in the day of,
Wow.
like with the flyers.
Yeah.
And it just made me want to cry because like they felt like, oh my God, they can help me. And we did.
Nice.
Which,
Yeah, and you're saying this is the second hackathon.
Yes.
The first one. Tell me more about that. I know you organized it with a few members from Latinos in Tech and a few. You have a committee behind this, right?
I do. It takes a village.
It takes a village.
It takes a whole village, but it really just takes a sponsor. So there's like mentors and there are sponsors. Sponsors are the ones who are going to be able to provide the shmula, the money, right? Like, or the venue. And what's invaluable is being able to being given a space to curate this. I didn't know how many people would show up. I'd be happy if like 10 showed up, honestly. So the last time I proposed it, you were on the board and I was like, let's have a hackathon. Y'all were like, what? What? And I explained it, but it also sounded really big. And so the way that it happened is one of the members of Latino community, Latinos in Tech, she was an ally, and I'm forgetting her name, and I'm so sorry. She was like, "Hey, PayScale can host this." PayScale is basically it is one of those websites that tells you like what your salary is versus everybody else's salary. It's really, really useful tool. But they were like, "Well, we can provide this space, and we can do it this way. We can have a couple of volunteers from the work show up." And then LCF, or Latino Community Fund, was like, well, we can provide the food and we can provide, people to be there as well, which is like, that's the hardest part, is finding that space. Right. And the most important part was finding mentors. But when I say mentors, I mean people who have hiring power, people who are like, in a position where not only do they know their stuff, they're also people that can get you hired at that job.
Okay.
So
that's a second purpose for the hackathon.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Like everything is with intention. So, por ejemplo, one of my good friends, Justin Rogers from Oculus, he's a senior engineer. He's about that life. Like he's worked on several Oculus headsets at this point. And he's a major advocate and a major ally, but also in a way kind of a sponsor, right? Like he's able to come in, help people with their code, and also take resumes, you know, like, I'm not like volunteering him, but it's something that he did. And he even reached out and kind of lit a fire under me and said, when's the next one? And I'm like, I don't know. When is it? I don't
August
know.
20th.
August 20th.
But no, that's so cool. Like you're saying, it takes a village to do something like this. But it's so cool. Sometimes you're right. The biggest challenge is finding a space, finding a sponsor.
I'm feeding these people.
Right.
Because it's really hard to be in a space for a very long time when there ain't no food, there ain't no snacks. Mm-hmm. It's just music and vibes. And no, I don't want my engineers and my producers and my QA testers just running solely on fumes.
Yeah.
I want them fed, and I also like just nurturing the community, right? Like nourishing them, nurturing them, and providing them a space to level up however they want to.
And that's such a cultural thing for us too, right? Yeah. When we go to a fiesta, when we go to a gathering, when we go to an event, if you have food there, right, we will
come.
We will show up, yeah.
Yep.
You tell me there's an event, there's food, I'm there. So ahí me invitan cuando tengan sus fiestas o sus reuniones. And definitely the hackathon, I'll be there August 20th. I'll put it in my calendar.
Yes, please do. It's we're trying to configure ways to get people there, like get people rides there, or in some way that they don't feel like put out. Mm-hmm. Because I know when I lived downtown and I had to go to work in Redmond, it's not easy.
It's a trek.
It is quite a trek. I've been there. So
maybe we'll organize some carpools. We'll figure out a way how to get people there.
I will be happy to help facilitate that.
So when you're ready, feel free to share that sign up page, the flyers, any promotional materials.
Of course.
We're happy to share it here also for you if you're listening, watching, and you get to see that. Please share it with your networks, because that's what it's about, getting the word out with the community, getting people to show up. You said Latino Community Fund is taking the lead in recruiting the businesses, but you're looking for mentors and tech people, right?
I am. I'm looking for mentors, engineers, producers, QA testers, people curious about helping to build a app or a website for these small businesses that need your help. Those are the people that I'm looking for. Even if you're curious about it or you're trying to get into tech, come through.
Nice. Well, definitely we'll have more info here to share later on. But before time is up, I know we're talking a lot about tech and we're hackathon, but I want to change gears a little bit, see if we can shift it up. Let's learn more about Rabecca. See who is Rabecca? What excites you? What motivates you? I know you're an artist also, so tell us more about that. What do you do with your art?
Oh man, so COVID switched that up, but if you've ever been to the Pantla Art Gallery, sometimes my artwork is there.
Shout out to Jake and Judy over there.
Jake Prendes, man, I want to be him when I grow up. Oh my God, he's so cool. And he owns his own studio, and he even at one point had the Lowrider event, which had Lowrider art. And like, that's the culture I grew up from. So my dad used to not only just repair cars, but he also had a Lowrider.
Oh, nice.
And he used to compete in East LA. Like, you know, those like videos with like the ladies, you know, on the rooftop of the car. My dad was in those videos.
What?
Yeah, he was we were about that life.
Yeah.
So Jake Prendes has just been a huge advocate for allowing me to like put my artwork in there, and it also motivates me to create more art because COVID just like zapped so much of that. It's like work and then try to survive.
Yeah.
But aside from like the typical PNW, like hiking and stuff, being able to create in one way or another, whether it's events or painting or 3D art, or I don't know, getting things off of the ground is something that has really helped me survive.
Nice. No, I think a lot of us struggled a lot during COVID, right?
Yeah.
That both emotional, you know, physical toll we all went under, but it's so cool that you found an outlet. You found a way to sustain yourself, to sustain your health, your mental health, right? Through art. That's so cool.
Shout out to Latinx Therapy. It's also a podcast that exists on Spotify. Just because like more often than not, Latinos, like Latinx folks don't really talk about mental health like that. We're just like, you know, pray to Dios right away.
Yeah. And I know here at Amigos de Seattle, they have a different show that focuses on mental health. So definitely si quieren aprender más, hablar, tener pláticas sobre la salud mental, aquí sigan Amigos de Seattle. Y también hay otras organizaciones en la comunidad que ofrecen they offer these types of conversations, support, resources for our community, you know, because that's so important.
Yeah. It's something that we just double down on working harder when things get stressful or cleaning. And I think there's a lot more to it. So I love opening up those spaces and talking about it. And also, like, if I could round it out with the hackathon itself was not a 24-hour thing. And that was purposefully done. So like at the end of the day, people go home and rest. Go be a person, go be a human person, and then come back and work. Okay. This is not like an all-night, stay up all night, like...
Right, because I've heard hackathons, like the traditional hackathons.
Yeah.
It's like you go lock yourself in some conference room for like 2 days, right?
Exactly. Like in gamer culture, and especially in tech culture, it's very much like grind. And that's not something I wanted to perpetuate in hackathon. I wanted them to... everything with intention.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool that you're leading this effort, making this really, really amazing event for the community. And it's something you're doing in your free time, right? Like,
yeah, no, this is all volunteer. I'm not getting paid for it. So if you're on Venmo, it's Rabecca/Rocha. I'm doing all of this por gratis. For, you know, not for nada, because eso es para la comunidad. Yeah. Pero, like, the event itself is free. I don't think I mentioned that. I'm sorry. The event is free. There is a suggested donation of whatever you can donate, but el evento itself is gratis.
So we're looking for donate with your time, donate with your knowledge.
My birthday is Saturday, so.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Happy early birthday.
Thank you, Gemini season.
Yeah.
Muchísimas gracias.
So feel free to follow Rabecca here at Latina Scribbles. We have your Insta, your Facebook handle here. And is that Twitter also?
That's Twitter, yeah.
Nice.
That's Twitter and Instagram.
Right down here.
Yeah. There you go.
Right
there.
So feel free to follow Rabecca on social media. Learn more about the hackathon coming up August 20th. We'll be sure to share some more of that stuff. And definitely thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today and being part of this conversation. It felt like the hour just went by like that.
It really did. I got here. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, here we go.
That's how I feel every morning. I show up, I'm like, I gotta go live. Let's figure this out. So thank you everyone for your patience. But before we go, actually, do you want to help me promote some cool events we have coming up?
Yes.
Yeah, let me see. I downloaded some flyers. I'm trying this new thing where
Love it.
we can share new events happening in the community.
I love it. Oh, this will lead into your next event. But if I could, like, right this second, promote a nonprofit that needs our help as a community, it is Alimentado el Pueblo. It is the only food bank that is Latinx focused, because more often than not, when we do get food banks, you get the beans and you get the pasta, but a lot of folks eat more than beans and pasta. So just wanted to give a shout out to them. They need all the love and all the money and all the donations.
And talking about that, actually, Roxana Pardo is our guest for next week. So quick preview for next week here. Who started Alimentando al Pueblo? Roxana Pardo Garcia.
She is so cool.
We have
Roxana.
her coming up next week. So we look forward to inviting her, interviewing her, and learning more about the amazing work she's doing there at Alimentando al Pueblo. Thank you for sharing it. And
Yeah, no, I could gush about her all day. She has provided so many spaces for Latinx people, but also has events for like Latinx, LGBTQI, just embracing the culture as a whole, because we love to dance. We love to be together and support one another, and just women, like Latina women are amazing. And
sure.
Roxana, I could gush about her all day, but I'm
we
so
all
excited
can,
she's
definitely.
your next guest.
Also, I'm so excited to be able to interview Roxana
Yeah.
next week.
She's a
And
dope
also,
artist.
shout out to our Latinx LGBTQ community. We, as allies here, we have Seattle Latinx Pride coming up. Here,
That's
as you can
right.
see, let me remove.
I bet you Montserrat Padilla is going to be there, who is like coolest.
I gotta get Monse here to come on the radio.
Monse,
and help
she's
promote the event.
the coolest.
Yeah, Monse and Ray, si me están escuchando, ahí las invito aquí que vengan al show. You can help promote Seattle Latinx Pride coming up Saturday, July 16th, 5 to 10 p.m. at El Centro de la Raza. Can't wait for that. But also, while we're here, we also have Indigenous People Festival coming up.
Yes.
Is it Sunday, Saturday?
Oh, that's Saturday. That's my
Yeah.
birthday.
Oh,
But
that's
yes, shout out to Indigenous.
So if you want to celebrate Rebecca's birthday on Saturday, you can celebrate either by going to Indigenous People Festival this Saturday at Seattle Central. I'm going to try to stop by. There's some cool local vendors, Indigenous, Native vendors, artists, performances. I'm really looking forward to this event. I just wanted to share your invitation with y'all. And to celebrate Rebecca's birthday.
Most importantly.
Again, follow her on social media, and she can share her Venmo through that, right?
Yeah.
Send some birthday love that way.
I will put it up today, but most importantly for Indigenous folks and missing women.
Nice.
Give them all of the money.
Yes. And last but not least, I have this really cool event. If you're in South Park, as somebody that grew up in South Park and in this field, I spent so many memories at this school, Concord Elementary. They're doing a community design workshop this Friday from 3:30 to 5:30.
Cool.
Hopefully, we can build a field there. My ideal dream is to build a soccer field there and bring the Sounders and come and play soccer with the community. But we'll see what this becomes. But just wondered, if you're from South Park, or if you're connected with South Park and you're around this Friday, I'm planning on being there, and I invite you all to come and join us and have a conversation about what could this field look like for the community. That would be so exciting.
That is amazing. Also, who is going to take me to a Sounders game? Because I have never been.
You've never?
I've
Wait a minute.
never been to a Sounders game.
Whoa. Time out.
I know.
We have to fix this right now.
Help me. Also, like, shout out to my friend Gabrielle. She's been trying to get me to go to a Sounders game, but like schedules just never align.
Let's figure that out right now. Let's see here. When's the next game?
I know it's the 18th, but I'm going to the beer festival. So if you're at the beer fest, I will be there.
Okay.
Drinking cervezas.
Let's
Don't tell my
see.
grandma.
Kansas City is the 25th. That's my little brother's birthday. Shout out to Antonio.
Mid-July. Hit me up mid-July.
Okay, let's look at July. July 9th is the Portland game. Big rivalry game.
Let's go. Dead serious.
Yeah?
Yeah,
All
let's
right.
go. July
We got
9th,
you.
I'll be at the
Rebecca
Sounders
will
game.
be at the Sounders game on July 9th. I got your
go.
ticket. I got your
Woo.
ticket. Let's go.
Nos vamos,
And
güey.
then, yeah, if you're listening and you want to, maybe we can do some, I don't know if we can do raffles. We'll figure this out. But maybe we can do some giveaways. I would love
Perfect.
to. I know I want to invite Barra Fuerza Verde to come in and talk about the work we're doing with promoting Latino culture in the Sounders and talk about the...
And it's so strong, and I'm so jealous, and it's so Mexican. I'm like, why is nobody inviting me?
Oh, no,
But
no. It's not. We have
Let me
people from
go.
all over the place. We have from Guatemala, El Salvador, Costa
What,
Rica.
Guatemalans? Where
Yeah.
you at? If you're Guatemalan, hit me up, because I am too.
We used to have Marco Papa, but yeah, it sounds like our time is up. I'm sorry, everybody. We're only have the access to the station for an hour. But Rebecca, thank you so much for coming on today. Thank you
so
for
much,
sharing
Jose.
your story, learning more about you, promoting the amazing work you're doing with the community hackathon, and thank you for helping me promote some upcoming events. Stay tuned next week. We'll have Roxana Pardo Garcia here in the show. Looking forward to interviewing her next week.
I will be in those Facebook comments.
Nice.
I will
So
be there.
Next Wednesday, June 15th at 11 a.m. Ahí los veo.